Okay. See if this works. Okay. Oh shit. It was like a double. Can people hear me? Try this. See it on the. I'll try to figure it out and make sure it works on the YouTube. Try this. Oh yeah, it works on the Twitch. Works on the Twitch. And the YouTubes. I think we're fixed. I think we're good. Connection's really solid. No issues. You can hear me in the YouTubes. Hell yeah. Can you hear the music as well, or just me talking? I just wanted to make sure. Both. Good. All right. Sweet. I think we're good. I think we're gravy. You can hear the music. Hell yeah. It looks like when I switched, because I just had it on YouTube before, and for some reason when I switched the out or the connectivity, the RTMP that it was going to be restream, it reset which channel it was listening to for the audio. Because I have my channels sliced up for when I do recordings with it, so that my music and my voice and guest voices are all in like different channels and shit. For some reason, it switched me to like an empty channel I don't use, instead of, I have channel 6 set as my like master channel that listens to everything at once for streaming, and it didn't have me switch to that for some reason. So yeah, I don't know. So, oh, all right, but. Hopefully people are like, I've got like 3 different places that like auto spams when I go live. So hopefully people aren't like pissed off, being like, why? That's pretty dope. I'm not sure how I feel about the settings appearance. No, not there. Not sure how I feel about the appearance of the chat. Can I adjust that midstream? I don't know. Chat settings? No, not there. I don't know if I can adjust the chat midstream. Should be able to. I would think so. Settings. Oh, here we are. It's not letting me adjust the style. Get audio setup just in case anything needs live adjustment and clean up in post. Yeah. Well, especially since it was a habit I got into when I was doing just Twitch, because I played a lot more copyright music. These days I do almost exclusively from Epidemic Sound, so I pay so that like it's everything I'm playing right now is gravy no matter where I play it. Embed in stream. Is it here? Oh, here's where I can switch. Can I switch it live? What if do I have to like redo it? Oh, it does. I can switch it live. It has to refresh it. I can switch it live. Just like default compact for now, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that. I could probably even scale it down just a little bit. Yeah, that should be pretty good. Thank you for anyone joining me for this ridiculous test stream. A bit cleaner and easier to read. Yeah, I think so as well. It's a bit of an eyesore, especially since I'm, for some reason, not wearing my glasses. I don't know why. Oh, I can read it now. There we go. I didn't really feel like doing cameras tonight. I'm still kind of getting my office set up. I just got some new shelving and stuff behind me, but as soon as that is good with the new shelving and whatnot, I will probably be running cameras more often and less with the VTuber stuff. My avatar's got it. Right? Yeah. Okay, I don't need the restream thingy up. That's just bandwidth I don't need to cover. All right. So we can do some like RPG dev stuff. I'm working on Neon Flow right now because the Void Home stuff that I was working on is kind of boring, to be honest. It's a lot of like just simple like formatting shit. You don't want to watch that. Hey, Count. Guys. I join you in Friendos, but like I'm like talking a lot about like design stuff and everything like that, and you're just gonna be making fart and dick jokes, and I can make my own fart and dick jokes. Thank you. So yeah. Anywho, yes, gonna do a bit of work on Neon Rain, I think. Try to figure some new stuff out. I would like to. I want to redo some of the way the traits work for styles. And once again, this is mostly just a test stream. So, yeah, classic Barbarian. So yeah, so these are the styles I have pretty good so far. I've got the Ace Psycho, which I may rename. I haven't decided yet. Which is just like a pilot / driver. The Barbarian, Brick Shithouse. Gun Nut still needs some work. The Muscle Mommy / Muscle Daddy and Overdriver, which are all pretty good. Although I had the idea, because there's one mechanic I'm not leaning into this enough, and that's the fact that some abilities may need additional points to be burned if there's like better abilities, and I'm not leaning into that enough. And so many of these are just like it's an action or a passive, and I'm like, each one of these needs an ability that's almost like an ulti, like a stupidly good ability that costs a lot. And I'd like to introduce a couple more abilities for each one that kind of, yeah, call them the Uber driver. That's actually not bad. Like a proper action surge for them. Yeah. Which the only complication I'll have is the Overdriver, because their entire shtick is their limit break, which is they can go to like limit break mode, and they just start getting extra momentum to spend. Basically, they don't have any like super fancy abilities or like really like flavorful shit so much as they just get I just moved that. They just get a lot of extra momentum and they start pushing themselves beyond their limit. And as they keep pushing themselves, it can start like costing them at the same time. Petrol veins. I think the only reason I wouldn't take the Uber driver one is just because I have the Overdriver and I kind of like the Overdriver for this one. I'm still happy with the art I did for the Muscle Mommy / Muscle Daddy. She turned out so awesome. Anywho. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do, each one of them needs something that's like a big fucking ability that you can take eventually. I think that's one thing I've got to do. And then, of course, I want to start filling out some more shit. These are just like archetypes from like fantasy games and whatnot, but I just kind of want to translate shit over to this. How does momentum work? Okay, so you know what? Let's get into this from the beginning, because this is I've streamed this a few times on YouTube, but like we're on both now. I got some people, and I normally stream like during the day. So different things, different people here. So yeah, let's get into what exactly momentum is. So the way this system works, the TLDR of this system, let's scroll down here. The primary resolution mechanic is, so I wanted to make the system fairly easy to track your primary resource, and which is momentum in this game. Now, in a lot of games like, Pathfinder or something like that, you've got to track, okay, I can use this once per day. I've got 3 uses left of this, blah, 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 blah. I wanted it to be so much simpler for this game. So everything is D6s. And the way you track your pools is just by physically having D6s sitting in front of you. And you build up momentum over time, depending on how long you wait to take your actions. It keeps building and building and building. Plus you have your presence, which is like a backup momentum pool. So you physically just have the D6s in front of you to make it really easy to be like, I'm going to spend one of these D6s for the actual like roll to see if it succeeds. And then 2 of these D6s, I succeeded. So I'm going to spend 2 of them for like extra impact because, which is like sort of like damage. Or to like, one of them is I'm going to burn one to trigger a trait that takes one to use or something like that. So it's all physically just spending the D6s in front of you and either rolling them or burning them. That way, like everything works on this momentum mechanic. There's no, I have to remember once per day. I have to remember I have 3 uses left, blah, 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 blah. Everything works off of this momentum mechanic. And the way it works, the way you get momentum. So player momentum, you can gain it in a few different ways. If it's a narrative scene, like you're not in a conflict or whatnot, you're assumed to just have 1 momentum, but you can still use from your presence score, which is like your backup momentum. If it's a conflict, each round is split into 3 stages. And depending on which stage you go in is how much momentum you get. So if you want to go in stage 1, basically you want to go first before anybody else, you're only getting 1 momentum. But if you want to go in stage 2, wait a little bit, let some people go before you, some people go after you, you'll get 2 momentum. But if you want to wait till the very end of the round, you go stage 3, then you're going to get 3 momentum. But you have to wait for everyone else to take their shit first. So, and you can save momentum between rounds. There are other ways to build momentums. There are some traits that give you extra momentum. People can pool their momentum through special like helping actions. So you can get those like very like teamwork things. Like I'm doing this so that I'm giving my buddy some momentum to attack, and then he's going to have that extra to throw in, and he can attack like a whole bunch of times, or he can attack once really, really well, or something like that. And I thought it would be pretty fun that way. Also, you'll get momentum if an ally is defeated. That ally can choose either for the entire group to gain +1 to their saved momentum, or for a single PC to gain saved momentum equal to the number of players at the table. Basically, like, instead of a death spiral, I wanted it to be like 11th hour, let's fucking go. So if like one of your allies goes down, gets defeated, 1 or more other people are going to get a boost out of it, because it's that very anime feel to it, right? Like, oh fuck, he's down, but I'm invigorated. Let's go. And a move debut. The first time you use a specific or unique combination of traits and momentum, you can name it as a move. You like scream the move out loud, like Super Phoenix Attack or something like that, and you'll gain extra momentum on the first use of that move equal to your level. It's not so, it doesn't have to be like fast moves or slow moves or anything like that, because Because say you've somehow built up like 6 momentum, like you got some momentum from yourself, some of your friends gave you momentum, stuff like that. You could do like one giant hit and be like, I'm spending 2 momentum on the attack to see which one gives me the better roll. I succeeded. I still got 4 momentum left. I'm going to spend one of those to trigger a trait that lets me hit like a small area. Great. I got 3 momentum left. I'm going to spend all of those to pump the impact, basically like the damage type thing, to make it really, really effective. Boom, mega hit. Or I've got 6 momentum. I'm just going to do a whole bunch. I'm going to do 6 like mini attacks and just like pop, 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 and see if like one or more of them hit, just in case. Or maybe it's somewhere in between. 6 momentum, maybe I do 3 attacks using 2 momentum on each attack, but I don't do any extra impact on it. So you really get to play with how you're using the momentum, but there are other things that you need the momentum for, because all attacks automatically succeed unless you defend, and you need momentum to defend. So if an NPC comes up and attacks you, you can defend with armor, which doesn't need momentum, but it does degrade your armor. But there are other downfalls to armor because it makes certain things hard to do in, because it's hard to move in armor. Let me actually go to conflict actions. So when you get attacked, momentum are your actions. Well, you can trigger actions with momentum. Once again, with 6 momentum, you could have 6 actions, or you could have 1 action, or you could have 2 actions, or however many actions you want. It's just you go on the stage that you chose, unless you want to do an interrupt, which costs extra. But it just works as a pool that you're putting into the various facets of the actions. But things like attacks or effect actions, because it's not combat, it's conflict, and you're applying impact. So it's attacks or effect. So like you would use an effect action, for example, if instead of a combat, this is like a cook-off and you're doing an effect action with your cooking skills or tools and trying to affect them. Basically, you're applying impact to their presence through a non-violent means. That's effect. So defending, you can block, dodge, or resist. Block does not cost any momentum like dodging and resisting does, but and it's only, of course, against like violent attacks and stuff. If you but you have to roll to see if it degrades your armor or shield that you're using. Dodging does expend a momentum, but then you get to roll to see if you can. You have to expend at least 1 momentum to do it. So you can roll to see if your juke aptitude is enough that you can just get out of the way. And then resist is if it's like something you can't dodge or block, like maybe like a mental influence or a poison or something like that, depending if it's physical or mental. Now you're saying, okay, well that's cool, but like why is it always like this? That's the PCs are the only ones that roll. The GM, this is a player facing system. The GM doesn't roll any dice. It is only the PCs that roll dice. The GM still has momentum. Although, to make it as easy as possible, the GM does not track momentum for each individual NPC. Instead, the NPCs pool all of their momentum into one pool for the GM to spend on whichever NPC he wants to. So, you might think, oh, that's kind of weird, but like think you've got one boss character and a whole bunch of mooks. If the mooks all decide to go on like stage 3 and build a bunch of momentum for that boss character, maybe the PCs realize, shit, we better start taking out these little guys quicker so that this boss character is not constantly being fed this momentum by having supports helping him out all the time. The PCs can share momentum. Yes, there are things for it. You support for each momentum you burn after the initial one. You can you grant 1 momentum to another PC in the same zone. It seems kind of costly at first, but that's because there's traits for sharing it easier. So like support characters that actually build for it will be able to just sort of grant their momentum to other people without having to like lose momentum in the process. Even moving costs momentum. You can move in the same zone because it works in zones. The way I have it is the ranges are engaged, same zone, adjacent zone, like 2 zones away, 3 zones away, etc. How's the GM track momentum? And how's the NPC momentum if the players are the ones rolling? So the GM tracking momentum, I figure the easiest way is to be like players. Just have a stack of D6s in front of you. You're not rolling any of them, but it's just a handy way. Everyone's tracking their momentum with D6s anyways. And then this way you know how much you have, because you're gaining momentum much the same way that the PCs were gaining it. Let's go back to GM momentum, gaining them. In a conflict, the GM gains momentum at the beginning of the round, just like a PC. The amount gained is equal to the stage number of each opposition added together. And how we use NPC momentum if the players are the ones rolling. So right here, using, and this is good that you asked because I did describe these things. So since the players make all the rolls, momentum works differently for the opposition. It can only be burned to initiate an action, activate a trait, or apply disfavor to a PC's roll in response to that action, each disfavor costing 1 burned momentum. So the GM can be like, I'm going to burn 1 momentum to activate an attack on you, but I'm going to spend a couple of momentum to apply 2 disfavor to you, which means that your roll is going to be a little bit harder. And then you just toss 3d6 away so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. Trying to tell how the move later in the turn order for momentum works without being really easy to exploit. Well, you get more momentum, but like you're also waiting for other people to do their shit, and it changes up every round. I count. One more. I've done a couple of playtests with it. So far, people that have stayed and waited for the extra momentum, I have enjoyed being able to defend more and dodge more, but they're kind of stuck in a state of reacting rather than acting, because they, especially since the GM has a pool of momentum, because remember, the GM gets 1 big momentum pool from all of the NPCs put together. So that means the GM, if he puts a big powerful character first, still has a lot of momentum compared to the PCs. That's a advantage on purpose. So if the PCs wait, that means the GM's probably going to go a lot before them. And so they're stuck in a reaction state, but they'll get more momentum. Or they can go sooner, trying to act, see if they can maybe like take out some of these mooks or affect the situation so that it's harder for the GM to affect them, in which case they had less momentum, but they were able to actually act in the situation a little bit sooner. Disfavor ends up just being like a -1 to the roll. So the way the primary resolution mechanic works. Actually, here, let's go to the intro because it had like the really. So, declare what you want to do. Just like any NPC, declare what your goal is, what you're trying to do here. If it's in a conflict, you're probably declaring a specific action, but I mean, it's an RPG. It might be outside of like those normal actions. The GM determines the difficulty that you're trying to achieve. This is usually the level of what you're interacting with. So if it's like a level 3 NPC, you're trying to succeed against a level 3 difficulty. And this is a roll to exceed system. So if it's a 3, you're trying to hit a 4 or higher. Momentum. Decide what you'll be spending your momentum on, remembering that at least one of that needs to be for the action dice. Cool. Fate dice. Roll your fate dice to see if it'll affect the rest of the action. We'll get into fate dice in a minute, but basically this is just something I've already had in my Cypher Void Home thing for a bit that I'm putting in here. And then you roll your action dice. So the action dice is a pool of D6s where you only choose the one that you want out of it. You don't get to add them all together. You just choose one, and then you add your aptitude to it, which is like your modifier, like a skill modifier, and then any favor or disfavor. And then if there's any costs, that it would come out of your presence. There's 3 stages in a turn. Yeah. So it's not like you get an arbitrarily high amount of momentum in a single turn by moving last. Yeah, so every round there's 3 stages. So in round 1, you go stage 1, 2, and 3. If you wait to go in stage 3, you'll gain 3 momentum that round. But you have to wait until the end of the round after everyone else is gone to do anything. And then the next round happens, and you choose in that round, are you acting in stage 1, 2, or 3? And it'll go like that every round. So that's kind of how it works. You don't continue gaining momentum. No, if you choose stage 1, you get 1 momentum that round, and that's it. You're done. And plus, if you have any momentum saved or you want to burn momentum from your presence, you can, but you're only gaining 1 momentum that round for the benefit of acting before anyone else did to hopefully affect the situation in your benefit. You don't get to go first and then build up 1, 2, and then 3. You're only getting that 1 and then you're done. So you can move faster, but you get less. Whereas if you wait till the end at 3, you only get 3. You don't get the 1, 2, and 3. You only get the 3 momentum, but everyone else got to go before you. So instead of rolling for initiative, you're choosing where your initiative is, but the longer you wait, the little more momentum that you've built up. Do you have it? Yes, there is a cap. The cap by default is equal to your level that you can save. And the cap not only goes up by your level, but there's traits where you can like boost it if you want to. I might get rid of that because it feels kind of meh. But there is a cap. It is equal to your level. There's no level cap in this system. You play long enough. I mean, who knows what levels you could get up to. There's no such thing as a level cap, because not only do you have the traits from each of the styles, but there are general traits that you can take, many of which you can take over and over again. Now, notice I mentioned there's impact for a PC attacking an NPC, but I never mentioned anything about PCs having health or anything like that. Here's the fun part. There's no health score in this game. There is. Let me go down to conditions. Every time you're hit, or every time you are successfully either attacked or affected, depending on what it was that was causing you to be attacked or affected, every time it's successful, you have to mark off something from the appropriate category. So if it was like a psychic or like a mental attack, like they're intimidating you or something, then you're going to have to mark off one of the mental conditions. If it's more of an effect situation, like you're in a financial negotiation and you're using effects to impact each other, then you would mark off situational. If it's just someone like punching you in the face or slashing a sword across your brow, then it's physical. You choose which one you do. You notice there's some that are bolded because they have special effects, like broken takes a little bit longer to heal. Severed, that's going to suck because it's gone. And then, of course, every one of them has defeated. Now, that doesn't mean dead, just means defeated. You lose agency in the scene. Depending on what happened, that might mean death. Or it just might mean that you're unwilling to continue. You flee in panic. You've been knocked unconscious. You're tied up, or any number of other things. Theoretically, if you wanted to, since this is a condition, you could choose to just do this right away and just sort of like concede. You can be like, you get hit once and you're like, I'm defeated. I give up. So it's up to you. And this way you could like say that this way you wouldn't have to check severed. There are certain styles that will give you more condition categories to check off, making you a little bit beefier. Does Powered by the Apocalypse do that? I thought they had... I'm playing in an Apocalypse World game right now, and I thought it was just like boxes we were checking off for it. I'm not that well versed in it. There are systems that do something like this. I think my book's downstairs for it. I think Tales from the Loop is one. There used to be something similar in, was it the older version of Cyberpunk 2020? This isn't a new concept by any means. But I mean, that's true for a lot of RPGs. When you do something, a lot of times it's iteration, just trying to like work on something people have done before. Yeah, there's definitely other RPGs like this. I'm not saying that I've invented this by any means. But I like that. I like this instead of numbers per se. And this makes defending more important because like you think like you get hurt or you get hit 6 times, you're almost done. Plus you've probably had something pretty bad happen to you. So dodging, blocking, getting out of the way, thinking tactically, working together as a team not to get hit. These are all really important things now. Yeah, there was something, I swear there was something in Cyberpunk, or was it an old version of Shadowrun? I've played too many games over the like 3+ decades that I've been playing this shit. I swear it was one of those two, Cyberpunk or Shadowrun, where it had like a damage threshold and then you just marked something. And I'm pretty sure, man, I really got to move my RPG books up here. They're downstairs in my living room right now. And my office is upstairs. But I think Tales from the Loop, I think this is closer to something Tales from the Loop did, I think. Or it was one of the Free League games. I don't know if it was Tales from the Loop, actually. I don't think it was Alien. But yeah. So this is how I'm doing sort of the quote unquote like health. And then for each one that you have checked off, because most of them don't have any sort of effect, and I might actually replace these with the special conditions. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. I might just replace it. But for each one of these that you have checked, they give you a disfavor to specific types of aptitude rolls. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep a definitive list like this. I think I might just have it like use roles that make sense for it being physical, mental, situational, rather than having a list. I prefer, I know some people aren't fond of this. They want everything sort of laid out. I prefer letting the players and GM just kind of use common sense to figure things out as you go. I know some people need everything like rigidly defined. But you know, with games like Fate and Cypher and stuff like that, obviously I kind of like things that are a little less rigidly defined. I like you to be able to kind of like play around with shit. So yeah, this is I might get rid of the affected aptitudes thing and just be like, use common sense what it's going to affect. We'll see. I prefer GM discretion, but maybe I have a big warning saying this is a guidance, use at your own discretion. That's not a bad idea either. Maybe just make this like suggested affected aptitudes. I think I'm going to replace severed with something else, and I think I might get rid of these. Yeah, I think I might get rid of these. I don't like something else that you have to track. I want to keep this snappy. I want to keep this going. I don't want something that you have to look up and reference. Yeah, I'm getting rid of that. Also, Jim's gonna need guidance with a bunch of suggestions. Yeah. So I might get rid of, I'll keep broken. I'm going to get rid of severed for now. I think the rest of these are good in mental. Situational is pretty good. It was my last stream, actually. Some people came up with some of these, like Jinxed and Dismal, Bleak. They're all pretty good. I gotta put something there. This is defeated. I don't need to be red. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep these as suggested, but it's not going to be mandated. I'll put a note in here. Say something along the lines. Effects. Here we are. Okay, so I can get rid of this. No conditions have unique effects. No. Effects are just a descriptive word or phrase. No, RA descriptive word or phrase without any specific effects. However, I had it for every 2 conditions that are currently marked. You know what? I might get rid of this entirely and just say for every 2 conditions marked, you just gain disfavor 2 rolls. This way, like if you've got 2 conditions from mental and 2 conditions from situational, those could both add on to the rolls. And it would simplify things too. Is severed more extreme consequences a possible thing to take when you would otherwise be defeated? Ooh, that's a good idea. Instead of choosing defeated, you could choose like a permanent condition or a semi-permanent condition. Ooh, that's not a bad one. I like that. I think I'm going to get rid of conditions in each category affecting specific types of things. And I think, because if you're like in tremendous amounts of pain, then you're not going to be so good at sensing things, for example, even though that would be under mental. So I think I'm just going to get rid of delete and get rid of that. Let's simplify. I'd rather to lose my arm than to lose you. Feeling okay. I like that. Okay, let me simplify this first, because simplify. I would much prefer a game be like, you don't have to look so much shit up. Like, don't get me wrong. I've had fun in Pathfinder and crunchier, more simulationism heavy games. But that is not what I want to design, and that's not my normal style of game. I would prefer something where it's like you've got only your major, like in this case, like the major things to keep track of, and that's it. I don't want you have to to refer to the book for every little fucking side rule detail thing. So I'll do no conditions or descriptive. No condition. Conditions are a descriptive word or phrase without any specific effects. Instead, for every 2 conditions that are currently marked, you have disfavor 1 to all aptitude rolls. Booyah. Leaving your party a man down, taking permanent injuries, or yeah, I really like that. This is why I stream this shit. You guys are doing the work for me. But I really like that. Instead of defeated, we could come up with a list of semi-permanent conditions. So we'll get that in a moment. The swan song turn. Yeah. Because I already had some things like that. Like I said, like if your ally's defeated, like everyone else gets either the entire team gets a little extra momentum, or the person that's fallen can decide that all the momentum gets pulled on like one person. So like the whole like, you know, when Krilla gets downed by Frieza, and then was it Piccolo? I don't know, whoever was there suddenly is just like, oh fuck nah, and then like they give her. That's that very, very anime type thing. That's why I want moments like that. I want almost the opposite of a death spiral. I want if things are going bad, I want your characters to be able to like push themselves. Or more like Vegeta's sacrifice even. I don't watch a lot of anime. No. I do. I was watching anime tonight. Okay, I was in the middle of something and I got sidetracked. Ooh, I'm having a moment. Currently marked you have disfavor 1. For every 2 conditions that are currently marked, you have disfavor 1 to all aptitude rolls, and it's already in the rolls that disfavor or favor stacks. Unbalanced and disorders seem like the same mental condition. Maybe something for more variety. Enraged. Oh, instead of enraged, what about emotional? Black Knight, and their only ability can be "'Tis but a scratch." Oh, I had an idea for a style, which is kind of like the classes type thing, except that you're not stuck with them. You can start after so many levels, you can start taking other styles. So you can mix and match. You could be like a barbarian and a muscle mommy and like a brick shit house once you've got enough levels under your belt. But I was thinking for one style, you know, in like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, there's always like one class where it's just like you're a fucking nobody, you've got nothing. The game's a little bit harder, but there might be like another perk to sort of balance things out sometimes. I mean, in those games, not so much, but I think in a game like this, a perk to balance it out would be great. I'm thinking a commoner type style, like you're just a random nobody. You only have one ability in the style, which means you can never take another style. And that ability is that every time you level twice. So you can take double the amount of general traits to build up your character and do cool shit than anybody else, but you don't get any of the really like fancy style traits. Well, just a thought. Potential not suck. Yeah. All right. I like this. All right. Let's go through all of the condition areas here then to clean this up from what we just did. And then I'll add, what should I call it? Like extreme conditions? Maybe? We'll get back to that. Yeah, so you never get any of the cool like you don't get like the that's not the thing I'm looking for. Here we go. Nope. So you don't get like the unbearable rage from Barbarian or the like the fist puncher thing from Muscle Mommy or the limit breaker from Overdrive. You'll never get any of those cool things. But you've leveled a couple times, which means that you could get dead inside multiple times, ignoring. I've got to redo these now, actually. But dead inside would have allowed you to ignore mental condition disfavors, or like there's empowered. You get extra restoration dice to get your presence score back. You could get a lot more skills. For example, you know, extra, like there's a lot of extra things here that you could just get double of and just improve your core self. But so mechanically, you've got a lot of cool, good stuff, but nothing specifically cool. Everyman sounds like a decent name for the style itself. Maybe. I feel like there's going to be people that would be like, you put man in the title. Because as it is with the muscle mommy / muscle daddy, I had to put like a divide for the mommy daddy thing. Fuck those people. Twitter can't hurt you. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I already say some things in here I'm sure I'm going to get canceled over. Like right in the beginning, I used the word fucktard. So I actually looked at Twitter for the first time today in like 3 or 4 months, and it made me sad, so I left. But I was on stream with the Deficient Master and Indestructible Boy. We were like just chilling, like doing like system design stuff, and we were talking about some RPG drama llama thing that was actually a nothing burger or whatever on something about someone in Paizo saying like that JD Vance needs to like burn his Pathfinder books, and we're like it was really a nothing burger thing, and it was whatever, but I hopped on Twitter for like 2 seconds and I'm like, this place is dirty. Every time someone posts a link from Twitter on Discord, I just copy it, repaste it as a FX Twitter link. FX Twitter. Oh, yeah. People took the Twitter cops seriously for like a year and a half. You're fine now. Right? Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Truth talk. Here's where I get myself canceled. I am left leaning, but I'm not as dramatically left as I think a lot of people on our side of like the industry is. I'm a little more centrist. I think people in extremism in either direction is just a fucking idiot. And I hate the cancel culture thing. I want us to be able to just have discussions where we disagree without having to fucking hate each other. There are people I have had lengthy discussions with that are very different than myself. In fact, even the guy that was just in here that said he had to go like good night or whatever, Count Monster Rod, he's a lot more right leaning. Like he works in Missouri in like a gun store. Like he's way over there. Like, but not to the extreme. He's not like, big MAGA guy or anything like that. But we disagree on many points, but we're like stupidly good friends at the same time. We can disagree on stuff and then still be like, awesome, let's go play video games. I feel like we should be able to do that, and the internet is ruining that ability to do that. Yeah, exactly. What happened to disagreeing with people without immediately the other guy being the scum of the universe? Yeah, I generally just try to vote depending on the specific policies that are going to affect me and stuff. Like in Canada, I voted for Trudeau mainly, but the first time anyways. I didn't vote for him the second time. But the first time I voted for Trudeau because he was toting that he was going to do voting reform, and that was important to me. I think the voting system in Canada with the first past the post and everything like that is broken as fuck, and that's why I voted for him. But then he didn't do shit. So yeah, I imagine the Australian party system is obviously it would work very similar to the Canadian or British systems because we're all Commonwealth countries. We run on a fairly similar system where we're voting for like party lines and stuff. I refuse to convey my political views with any sincerity. Yeah, like I just even on Blue Sky the other day, because I had a bunch of people trying to like pull me into political stuff on Blue Sky, and I just said no. I made a post. I made a post about it, just being like, I'm not doing that political stuff. Can I not just Like, look at my own home. See my own shit. Here we are. Yeah, a lot of political or activist accounts have been following me recently. Thanks you for the follows. But I have to say this, even if I support you, my social media here is for positivity and game content only. I have other avenues for my political views. No drama or politics on this account. Just love and fun stuff. And it's like the same for my Discord and everything like that. It's about fucking games. I'm not using these as like my political, like, here's what I think about whatever. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm just a nobody on the internet who, like, there are people with far less smooth brains than I have that are far more knowledgeable about what the hell is going on than whatever knee-jerk reaction I could give in the however many characters you can put into a blue, like a tweet or whatever. Effectively have 4 parties: far left and right, center left, right, and also independents. We in Canada, we have like a weird number of parties because there's a bunch of really tiny parties. Like, we've got our main ones. We've got the NDP, like we've got the Liberals, Conservatives. We got like the Bloc Québécois. We've got we technically, there's a Communist Party. We have a pirate party. We have a whole political party about being pirates. Like, we have a lot of little tiny, like, weird little fucking parties. We have the Green Party. Green Party actually sometimes gets a seat or two. So yeah, it's like I think our systems work pretty similar to each other. To be real, if we wanted to listen to random people's political views, we'd invite our estranged grandparents to dinner. 2 drinks later, we'll hear some shit. Yeah, I love my grandpa. I love my grandpa to death. His political views. Oh, fuck. I think it's important to keep content separate. It's why Blue Sky is great. One community is never a community. Yeah. And I mean, we're getting our fair share of shit as people are moving over from X, Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I think for the most part, it's still remaining cleaner. People are policing not what you say so much as being like, hey, stay on topic. Like, if you want to go say your shit, then go say your shit in like that corner over there. I'm going to stay in my corner over here and talk about like games and stuff. Yeah, I don't know how we got on this topic, but I do tend to say things that will probably get me like, hold up, you fucktard. Someone's gonna get offended at that, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't care. So whatever. Okay, we were going back to do stuff. That's narrative tools. We were looking at conditions. We're going to clean this up. I'm going to have to clean up some of the abilities because just got to reword them, I think, because actually I might not even have to reword them. Come to think of it. Because let's look at like dead inside. You ignore up to 1 disfavor from mental conditions. Okay, I do have to reword it. So you can ignore up to 1 like mental condition towards the total disfavors. You can take the trait multiple times, each time ignoring an additional condition. Yeah, I'm just got to reword it and it'll be fine, I think. I think it'll be okay. This is also a setting book as well as a system book. Yeah. Yeah, this is also going to be a setting book. Like, this isn't like a universal system or anything. This is going to be a specific setting. Like, we could always turn this into a universal system later. Like I've even given it like CAD engine. Like, I've even given it like a thing for that. But I really like if you look at Free League or Monica Games or anything like that, their universal systems didn't start as universal systems. They started as a specific game. With Free League, it was Mutant Year Zero. With Cipher system, it was Numenera. And they started with a specific setting, a specific goal, a specific design in mind, got that cranked out. People liked it. They got into it. Awesome. And then afterwards, they're like, okay, cool. Let's make it like a universal genre agnostic system out of it. What if we brought back blood sports? Think about it. Solve a lot of the overpopulation issues in our town. Fuck's sakes. I can just see it now. Language is fine. They'll come across language sooner or later in the setting stuff. Yeah. And like this is not going to be for kids, even though it's got kind of like a cartoonish like anime aesthetics to it and stuff. This is not meant for kids. And this it's going to be like in the descriptions of wherever I end up listing it on like itch.io and drive through and stuff like that. And it's gonna be like, this is an adult game. It's not gonna have like full on sex in it or anything like that, because I don't really find that fun in an RPG. It's not my dealio. But it's definitely gonna have topics in it that are probably not great for kids, and that's very much on purpose. I want a specific feeling to go along with this. Haven't exactly decided on some details of the setting yet, but I've got some ideas. Contains the word brain splattering action on the cover. I don't know, it sounds wholesome and child friendly to me. You're right. Once again, there will be people that will complain, and I don't give a shit. Whatever. Fun for the whole family, like incest. Okay. So, another opposition successfully uses the attack or effect actions on action on a PC. That PC must mark a condition from the appropriate category. It's up to the player which condition in that category is crossed out. I'm gonna have to put a guidance on which category. How dare you be funnier than me? Child family for any and every cult. Yeah. Maybe we should consider carefully, some conditions have side effects. I can get rid of this. Which condition in that category is crossed out? Okay. I might get rid and move this here. So move this to the beginning. So conditions are a descriptive word or phrase without any specific effects. Whenever they're in opposition, blah, 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 it is up to player. And then instead of crossed out, we keep the verbiage in line for whenever it's up to the player which condition in that category is marked. For every two conditions that are marked, combined from all categories that are marked, you have disfavor 1 to all aptitude rolls. Okay, I think it's cleaning it up a bit. Bloodied could be replaced, could replace the removed minor physical condition. Oh, bloodied. Bloodied's not bad. Yeah, bloodied's a good one, actually. A lot of B ones, but whatever. We'll see. May think of a better one afterwards, but the more conditions that are marked, this is a redundant sentence. I can cut this. Oops. gonna do this. Okay, so for every 2 conditions combined from all categories that are marked, you have disfavor 1 in all aptitude rolls. This means if you have been greatly affected during a scene with multiple conditions, you will likely have to overcome that disadvantage with boosts, friendly assistance, and tactics to provide your and tactics. End. Might even get rid of that sentence in total. We'll see. Normally, the last you mark is defeated, which then leads into defeat. So a little issue that you're going to have to with unifying the disfavor is that a player character can potentially have double the amount that if it was individual pools. Yeah, it's every 2, but I mean, if you've gotten enough, 10 to 1 if you're in a conflict or situation, 10 to 1 it's going to be one type of list that you're getting most of your conditions out of. Like if you're in a non-violent conflict, 10 to 1 all of your conditions are going to be situational. If you're in a completely social setting, 10 to 1 all of your conditions are probably going to be mental. And if you're in a combat, 10 to 1 most of your conditions are going to be physical. It might bleed through to the other ones, but I can't see very many situations where you're going to be getting all 3 of these going on. And I was already sort of accounting for the math of having all 3 of them sort of combined. It was just which aptitudes they affected. Just now it affects all aptitudes. But this is as you get worse. So like, for instance, if you take all of the physical ones, that's a -3 on your aptitudes, which is a big deal when you're only rolling D6s. Like that's cutting you down. And your aptitudes range from -1 to +5. So like it's theoretically a lot, but the point is you can bypass that with momentum. Because you can add momentum, has one of the things that you can spend momentum on is adding favor, which discards the disfavor. So say you've somehow managed to get both physical and mentals maxed out. That is a -6. Well, I mean, you spend 4 momentum to get a +4 to that. It's only a -2. That's not that bad. And you don't even have to build all that yourself. What if your buddy is supporting you by providing his momentum to you to counteract your physical and mental issues so that you can continue to attack? Basically, he's spending his momentum to allow you to ignore your conditions. Is there a consequence if they hit negative disfavor? Yeah. So what is the favor and disfavor sort of counter each other out? So if you have 3 levels of disfavor and 2 levels of favor, then that cancels till you only have that 1 level of disfavor. So yeah, you could have a whole bunch of negatives here, but that just means you have to rely on teamwork and tactics to get that favor to, you got to basically, the more hurt you are, the smarter you have to play. So you still have ways to get around this. You can't be a dummy. You gotta work with your team. You gotta have friends. And you need to figure out ways to overcome those limitations, which is very much by design. That's what I was kind of hoping to achieve with this, and actually melding them together into one is actually making this even more how I kind of wanted it to be. Defeated. Each category has a condition called defeated that automatically removes the character from being able to affect the scene. This does that. When marked, automatically removes the character from being able to affect the scene. This does not have to mean the character is killed or removed permanently, depending on the circumstance. It could be fleeing in fear, knocked out, captured, demoralized into inaction, etc. Work with the GM to determine what this means. However, in a violent life or death conflict, this often means a permanent removal in some way. when you mark the defeated condition. And then this is what it's sort of reiterating what it had earlier. You can choose either for the entire party to gain +1 to their save momentum, or for a single PC to gain momentum equal to the number of players at the table. Players can ignore their maximum saved momentum at the end of the round an ally was defeated. So you can really boost a dude, but I wanted to make sure that if it happened at like the end of the round, that all that momentum wasn't just lost because it's past your normal maximum. And I'm granting this, and this is by design, even if you only granted the momentum to one person, I'm letting every PC ignore their maximum for that round. Because once again, someone just dropped anime style. Everyone else has some sort of boost as a result. I like that. I find giving them that extra boost and that extra oomph gives you that heroic, like, oh fuck, shit's getting bad, but I'm going to get good situation, rather than in a lot of TTRPGs, you get that death spiral going on. Be like, all right, our healer's down, we're fucked. Like, now what do? We have one less guy and things are harder now, and we were already losing. Like, now what do? I wanted almost the opposite of that. So like, as people go down, you're going to get a little extra. Since defeated has to be applied when all other physical conditions, different condition types. It does not have to be applied in all other physical conditions. You could choose defeated right away if you wanted. Well, the reason there's different types is, say you get nothing but physical. That means that you can only take a physical hit 6 times. And then you have to mark defeated. But if you take a mixture of physical and some mental, I feel like that's not going to drop you as quickly. This is why I have the different ones. So if someone's just like demoralizing you or something like that, like there's this like really scary like super dragon on the battlefield, and it's like that's like terrifying you and stuff like that, then you can choose, trauma and panic and stuff, even though that you've been getting beaten on the rest of the way. This way you have a little extra leeway. You still get more minuses, which sucks, but you have a little extra leeway. But defeated is just a condition like the others. If you get wailed on right away and you're like, fuck this, I concede, I'm defeated, you could just choose it. They would have to pick defeated. Yeah. So it's optimal to all stack one type of condition, so it's effectively 3 separate health bars. You only have to stop one. Well, the thing is, the player doesn't get to choose which category they get to mark it off of. The GM is going to tell them this is affecting you physically, this is affecting you mentally, this is affecting you situationally. So this is a tool for the GM to help pace how long it's going to take before they take you out. It would be cool if afterwards all PCs still get an extra momentum dice or even +1 for each defeated ally and not just the same round after. That one I'm going to have to think on. It's not a bad idea. Once again, it combats the whole death spiral thing that you get in a lot of RPGs. That one I'm going to have to think on. Continue to gain bonus momentum. We'll put this as a writer's note. Because I'm more thinking of it from a PC perspective. Doing mental damage in your party is doing physical becomes less effective. Oh, this is just for PCs. This is not for NPCs. NPCs have almost more of like a traditional health score. They have their presence because you're actually rolling impact. When you do a, here, let's go back to actions. Okay, when you do an effect or an attack action, you deal a base amount of impact equal to your level. And then if gear applies a bonus, there might be that, so that there's a static number. Then you choose if you want to apply momentum to add d6s onto that. So say you're level 2, so you're doing a base amount of 2 impact to the NPC's presence. And it's a heavy weapon, so that's an extra 2. So you've got 4 impact that you apply with a successful attack. And once again, the NPCs have to burn momentum to dodge and stuff as well. So the GM has to decide whether it's an automatic success or not. Then you can choose, I'm going to spend 3 momentum. So it's going to be 3d6 plus 4 instead of just 4. And then it just minuses off of their presence. No, it's not like doing different damage type, taking on a 12 gauge to your foot or something. No. The NPCs have almost closer to like an actual health score with their impact and presence. Their presence acts more like how much they have left in the scene, whereas an NPC's presence actually can be burned to you get extra momentum, basically. Yeah, and the NPCs have it a little bit differently. Sort of, yeah. Yeah, it's very, there's definitely some similarities to the NPCs in Cypher to a degree. A little bit more, Cypher is a little bit more loosey-goosey on the numbers, and there's a lot less numbers in this to keep track of. It's really just their presence for the most part. The way NPCs work, I don't know if I have it written in here yet. I don't. Okay. The way NPCs work is their level is their target number. That's just like Cypher. But the way NPCs work is they have a presence equal to, and I haven't fully decided on this, I think it's going to be 5 times their level. And it just stays like that. But for every level an NPC has, they get a trait slot. So just like with PCs and their traits, general traits and stuff like that, opposition traits. GMs get to customize their NPCs with opposition traits. So if it's a level 3 NPC, it's going to have 3 opposition traits, and you get to choose what it has. Like maybe it has dark vision, or it's an elite, which means its presence is now 10 times its level instead of 5 times its level. Or it can fly, or something like that. So designing NPCs and situations and everything in this game is as simple as it's level 3. It has this many slots. I'm going to put these traits into these slots. Boom, done. You don't have to. It's not quite as loose. I mean, you can still invent your own traits, of course, but then you're just going to have more traits in a list that you can pull from in the future. But it's all very much like it has these traits, and then that's it. Yeah, I got to go through and do the ultimate abilities for the styles and everything. And more styles. I'm really happy with the way this picture turned out as well. Like, I'm pretty happy with the way a lot of these pictures turned out. I'm a little torn on the cover. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep her as the cover or not. I drew it and I liked it. So I was like, all right, why not? I almost put these 2 on the cover, but I couldn't quite make it work how I wanted. So that's why I put them in the conflict example instead. Gave them names as Marco and Alara. That way I can give there's a full conflict example here on how this works. I'll do a video as well to break it down. It sounds more complicated, but once you've actually sit down and you have the dice in front of you and you realize it's as easy as picking up a D6 saying, I'm using this, and then throwing it and you're done. It is so easy to track everything by and you get that tactile feel of picking up those D6s and just this is what I'm using and spending them as the currency. Cover face is too dark. Yeah. Yeah, this is not going to be, I don't think it's going to be the final face or final cover. I feel like an ultimate revolve around space or extra action or speed. Oh, speed or extra actions. I can see that. The Phil Light equivalent. Yeah. See, I wasn't sure what to do for Phil Light. She's got, and I gotta fix this bit up here because I fucked up like around what the hair is. I didn't do a full transparency on the mask, and I used Clip Studio Paint, and I kind of fucked it up there. But and then I layered a bunch of effects over top as well. Now I kind of gave almost like a fill light coming from her collar, like cyberpunk style. But you're right, I should have had like another fill light. A bigger fill light coming from the side or above or something. I've got this pink rim light, but it's not enough. Something to lighten her up a little bit, especially against these black bars that I added here. We'll see. These two ended up being a bit lighter. I darkened him actually because of the scenario I'm going to be putting them in the book. When they were on the cover, I didn't have this extra shadow over him, and he was a lot brighter. I might redo the lighting on some of these. I think because I kind of went with a little bit of, like, I'm not the greatest artist, you can tell, but I went with like a rim light and then like a little bit of a fill light and kind of sort of cell shading, but like some of it's like painted and blurred. I might go with a bit of a harder cell shading and not quite go as fancy with the rendering. Something that would provide either full turn as a reaction or a big chunk of momentum in exchange for making it take more damage or removing the ability to defend for the turn. I like those big trade-off ones. Now, for a big ultimate thingy like that, one of the trade-off I wanted to have was like, I wanted it to cost momentum. So I don't want too many negatives, because I want it to be one of those things where it's like, I've been charging this for 2 rounds and now special beam attack. Like I want it to be that type of thing where it's like you've gotten that momentum through one means or another, and now you get to use this awesome big ass ability. I keep getting sidetracked a lot. That happens. Oh. Conditions. Am I in the right area? Yes. Conflict, play, presence, conditions. There we are. I gotta really finish this. I feel like the vehicle guy would have a much more spontaneous ultimate, hitting like a train wreck with no warning, but putting himself in danger. I could see that. Like you're sacrificing something about the vehicle in order to do something super special. I like the idea of like, it's got to have a big cost, whether that's momentum or some big side effect. I like the idea of it like being like, this is a big deal. Forms and line work are good and clean. You can go shadowless, but then it's all up to the aesthetic you want. Being cyberpunk, the interplay of neon lights and deep shadows are often important. True. Although it's not quite cyberpunk. So I guess I didn't really explain this too well. This isn't like a futuristic cyberpunk type world per se. In the intro, it explains that an experiment happened that washed the planet with what the scientists called the phylotic energy matrix, but everyone else just refers to as the neon. And what the neon did is it semi-digitized reality to the point where people's thoughts and beliefs and willpower accidentally shape reality around them. Not always by choice, sometimes accidentally. And like here, let me just read the intro. It might just be easier if I just read the intro. My name is Millicent, not Mills or Millie, it's Millicent. Fuck that up and I'll kick you in the downstairs mix-up so hard and mooks around you won't have kids for generations. Got it? Good. Want to know about the world? What are you, new? Whatever, fine. It's not like it's a hard one. Back in the day, some dweeb did something. I think it was fan-fucking-tastic. But those old fogies, you know, those guys in like their 30s and 40s, they're still like super pissed about it. What do you mean get to the point? Hold up, you fucktard. I ain't had my ADHD meds in like a week. Should clean my room. Okay, whatever. Some super nerd like decades ago did something. If I gongle it, he called it the phylotic energy matrix, but everyone I know just calls it the neon. It's like this super pretty light thing that just kind of spread all over the world, infecting it with this digital energy shit. It changed like fucking everything, bro. Reacting to what we think, what we believe. The harder you focus that head meat of yours, the more real it is. The problem is the world is full of mooks with nothing but loose marbles. Ah, yeah, sure, Alabama manifested some Jesus knockoff with AR-15s, but then some crazy old bat in Tokyo caused all the vending machines in her neighborhood to attack middle-aged men between the ages of 33 and 37. And don't even get me started on that teen waif that turned some poor girl's hand toes into snakes because she liked the same boy. Normal life for most people ain't changed that awful much, really. You go to the office, earn less livable wage, watch someone almost get eaten by a car monster on the way home, and then watch TV till you die. Most mooks ain't got the brain power to really make that shit real enough for beyond making your turkey sandwich a little dry. But there are those of us that got the flow. We know how to get shit done, and the world needs us. All that weird shit that crazies, baddies, and villains of the world made, yeah, someone's got to knock them down. And that's where we come in. We got the power. I mean, if you think you can do shit sometimes, you just can, right? I mean, look at me. I can make these giant mecha arm things pop in from nowhere and just wreck shit. Okay, you got the skinny and I'm bored. You ever want to do a team up and do a run for one of the cleaner corps? Let me know. I'll either be up for it or watching old sitcoms in my underwear. Later, Mook. So this game is setting a little bit stealing stories for the devil. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I've gotten stealing stories for the devil. I have yet to actually read or run it. I don't know. This is it's had several inspirations. Gotta admit, some of the things I'm going to be doing in it with the whole like instanced areas that you can deal with, probably me watching solo leveling a little bit too much. But there's a lot of other like animes and everything that I've watched, a lot of those like MMO style isekais especially, and everything like that. So this is influenced by a lot of different shonen and isekai anime. is the meat of it. Those are like the main influences behind a lot of the themes and feelings and stories you're going to get in this. If you're a fucking weeaboo like I am, you're instantly going to pick up on a lot of shit that I'm throwing in here. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going for here. I explained a little bit more, of course, in the beginning of the book and everything. Players, depending on their class, can lie to time, objects, or people. Lies automatically succeed. But GM must outright kill you with stress if the lie is successful or is excessive. Interesting. The reality shaping isn't going to work quite like that. I still have actually yet to figure out the mechanics and how that's going to work, to be honest. I just know that in the setting and in the story, it's more about people's innate beliefs. So once again, it's not always something you choose that happens. It's just what you the power of belief. Oddly enough, and this is influenced by Monty Cook, but it's not influenced by any of his modern games for the power of belief thing. It's influenced by some passages he wrote in the Planewalker's Handbook for AD&D 2nd edition. Because if you've played old Planescape, Monty Cook wrote a lot of things in a lot of the books because he was one of the main guys that shaped it. Not the only one, but he was one of the main guys that shaped it. And in that, he spoke a bunch of times about a bunch of different things like the power of 3 and the power of belief. And those have shaped a lot of what I want to do in my settings over time. So in a lot of ways, you'd be right, and Monty Cook influenced me, but it's not from the products that you would think it's from. I've been around the block a few times. Yeah, Planescape was super influential for me back in the day. I think the settings that we played the most I mean, obviously Greyhawk was a big one. We played a lot of like Mistar or Hollow World. I mean, we played all of the settings at one point or another. We had a Birthright campaign, oddly enough, for quite a while, which I know that one's a kind of a weird one. You don't hear many people being like, oh yeah, we played the shit out of Birthright. But we did. But I would say Planescape was probably the big one for us. We played probably more Planescape than I would say any of the other settings. Because even when we started in Greyhawk, like my first campaign was Temple of Elemental Evil, technically. We started in Greyhawk, started doing the Temple of Elemental Evil. The GM expanded the fuck out of Temple of Elemental Evil, which led into like a 5-year-long like Planescape campaign setting, or Planescape campaign, which, I mean, that was back in 2nd edition days. Let me tell you, that was nuts. So many good memories. I will never go back to AT&T 2nd edition. Never. Fucking mess. Like, I didn't know it at the time because that was what I played. I played D&D, and 2nd edition, AT&T 2nd edition was the edition of the time. We started out in 1st edition technically, and then we like updated to 2nd edition. But like, I didn't know any better. I didn't play a lot of other games until like nearing the end of that campaign. That's when I started branching out. Cyberpunk 2020, Shadowrun, Vampire the Masquerade, stuff like that. I was big into all of the World of Darkness games in my teens. I get sidetracked easy. I don't know if you've noticed this. Like, I've been trying to retype this same shit over and over, and then you'll say something and I'll get into a fucking tangent. I'm not normally like this. It's just when I stream. It's just because like I get the conversation going, and then I don't know. Anywho. I was going to have physical and mental conditions are removed after full rest unless it states otherwise, and situational conditions are removed at the end of the scene. And then some special conditions like vehicle conditions, which is not something I've touched on yet, but vehicles actually get their own condition list. May take longer. I don't know. Keep. I don't know yet. It's a big one. I don't know. I may or may not keep this. I'm not sure. I may move defeated down. So the exceptions to this may be the defeated condition, depending on the nature of how it manifested. Something you'll have to use some common sense for. If defeated just meant you fled in terror, then it would go away at the end of the scene. But if defeated condition meant you were broken and battered so badly you couldn't move, that could take a much lengthier amount of time to go away. Obviously, if defeated meant permanent removal, then the new character must be made. When determining how long it takes to remove a condition, the main thing is to keep in mind to not simulate reality, but to do what is the most fun for the game and not remove the player from play for too long. This is a game, not a life simulator. Okay, Pickle Rick. I think I already fed you. Why are you chewing on shit? Yeah, I hear you over there. You want a cookie? 1 second. Pickle Rick needs a cookie. Oh. Yeah. Ouch. One of my goals when I get more set up is I want to get a camera just for Pickle Rick because chinchillas are cute. So I need to move this around. if you have marked all the other conditions, capital. No, I can rephrase that. Instead of marking the defeated condition, instead of a condition, I'm going to do extreme status effect. Because that's the status effects are like the other things like blind, charmed, deaf, doomed, stuff like that. Gain. Instead of marking the defeated condition, you can choose to gain one of the status effects that are marked with the extreme tag. I don't know if I'll stick with that terminology, but it's good for now. Whatever. Yeah. And then we can just start adding some status effects with that tag. I like it. Stream tag. No, instead of the extreme tag, instead of marking the defeated condition, you can choose to gain one of the following status effects. And then insert list. Sweet. Okay. So, hour and a half. I've actually, like, this is supposed to be just a little test stream. I actually streamed longer than I thought I was going to. I was going to do like a 20-minute stream just to test to make sure it worked. But I think that's good for now. It's like 1 a.m. I got to be up and like, I've got some projects to do for people tomorrow. I mean, they're paying me to do stuff, so I guess I better do it. So I think I should probably go to bed. Thank you for everyone that came to like this test stream. So far, so good. I'm glad we got the audio shit figured out. And as soon as Monica Games gets me their permission, I'm still waiting on it. I can also do the streaming in the Moonbeam Alpha thing with these. So that'll be super cool. Awesome. All right. So yeah, thank you for joining. Check out my links below for all of the stuff and things. Void Home Early Access is available on my Ko-fi shop, although not for much longer. If you want the early access pricing, you're going to want to get into that soon if you don't have it, because the full pricing thing will drop once it's out, and Void Home's getting pretty close. This will be a while before this system drops, and I've got a bunch of other things on my drive through you might want to check out. All right. Have a good night. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, and